Maybe you from the 1970s when the Los Angeles Rams was known as the prison foursome because of that defensive line. Or maybe you in the city of St. Louis, the gateway to the Midwest, where the greatest show on turf brought home the first ever Super Bowl championship. Or maybe you in the here and now with the Rams back in LA, winners of Super Bowl 56. It doesn't matter because when it comes to this, it's all about the Los Angeles Rams. Horns up, Rams South. Time to talk Rams football.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. Yes, the Playmakers in the building, and this is season 6 of Ramily Talk. I am happy and thrilled to bring another season of Los Angeles Rams football right here on the Playmakers Ball Sports Network. It is an honor for me to do so. Thank you guys for a incredible season 5. Uh, if y'all don't remember, season 5, we were ranked 55th amongst all LA podcasts. Okay. We was ranked second in NFC West podcasts. It was a thrill. It was a blast. We didn't win the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Shout out to the Eagles on that one. But season 5 was great. Looking forward to more and bigger things here in season 6. Thank y'all for joining me today on this Thursday, August 7th, 2025. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, on the Playmakers Blog YouTube channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that anytime we get ready to post Rams content, especially if you're a Los Angeles Rams fans, you'll be the first one to know and you can be the first ones to watch and listen in on it. Those of you who like listening to the audio, who enjoy listening to the audio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and wherever else you can find podcasts. As you already know, we have hit preseason, and y'all know how I like to do it. I don't really talk about preseason like that because I'm really not looking forward to seeing who's going to be on the team. I'm really looking forward to seeing what my starters look like, and with Sean McVay, we don't play our starters, so I was like, this is a time where I can go through the current schedule for the Los Angeles Rams, go through each opponent, what they did during the season last year, what they did during the offseason, as we get ready to gear up for the 2025 NFL season. So this week, we got our first 5 games of the week coming up this week. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it because beginning with our very own Los Angeles Rams, 10-7 last year, NFC West champions, uh, the 4th seed in the NFC, beat the Minnesota Vikings in the wild card round and was defeated by the Philadelphia Eagles, who went on to win the Super Bowl in a divisional round, the most competitive playoff game of the 2024/2025 playoffs was the Rams and Eagles out at Lincoln Financial Field on a snowy Lincoln Financial Field. Matthew Stafford completed 65.8% of his passes last year, throwing for 3,762 yards with 20 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Kerryon Williams, who carried the ball 316 times for almost 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns. He also had 34 catches, 182 yards receiving with 2 touchdowns. And shout out to you getting a 3-year contract extension, $33 worth, 33 million, should I say. Congratulations to you on your contract extension and signing pretty much long term with the Rams, an extra 3 years for Kerryon Williams. Shout out to you. Puka Nacua led the receiving corps with 79 catches, almost 1,000-yard season for him, just 10 yards short of 1,000 yards. He had 3 touchdowns, only played in 11 games. Only 11 games. Cooper Kupp, 67 catches, 710 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns in 12 games. Cooper Kupp is no longer with us. He has joined the Seattle Seahawks, so he's back in the state of Seattle, where he graduated from Eastern Washington. So good luck to you, Cooper Kupp. We'll be seeing you twice a year, and we'll see how that fares out between us and you. Key signings, we did bring back Akia Jackson, our offensive tackle. We also brought back Tutu Atwell on a 1-year deal. We signed Defensive tackle Panini Ford. Love that signing. We also bring in center Coleman Shelton to help buffer that offensive line even more. And to replace Cooper Cup, we bring in Devontae Adams. Now I didn't put it in here, but I probably should have. But I want to give you Devontae Adams' numbers last year with the New York Jets. Even though they did not have a stellar season last year, to say the least, but to have Devontae Adams on here, if you're gonna lose Cooper Cup, when you bring in somebody like Devontae Adams, and I'm with it. I'm with it. You know, I love Cooper Cup. I love what he did for the franchise. Nothing but love for Cooper Cup. But bringing in Devontae Adams, I feel good. I am with that. You know, so let me give you Devontae Adams on the last year. And the reason why I feel good about this signing, because people thought he wasn't, even though the Jets had a horrible season, Devontae Adams did. Devontae Adams had 67 catches, 854 yards receiving with 7 touchdowns. Okay. So what I like about this signing is what you gonna do? Because are you gonna roll coverage to Puka Nakua? Devontae Adams gonna kill you. You want coverage to Devontae Adams, Puka Nakua gonna kill you. So you talking about Devontae, a guy who is great on getting off the line. It's hard for you to uh bump Devontae Adams. It's hard for you to stymie him at the line. That man is so good at getting off the line of scrimmage. It's going to be interesting to see him and Matthew Stafford connect. We already know about him, and we already know about Stafford and Puka Nakua connection. We already know about that, but I want to see Devontae Adams and Matthew Stafford connection. We also got Tyler Higbee, who is healthy going into this season. So we have our tight end as well. Kerryon Williams, he did what he did. So I'm looking forward to that. And you see down at the bottom, we have our draftees. Terrence Ferguson from Oregon, very good, very good. A speedster at the tight end position, can line up at any position on the outside as a wide receiver. Great versatile tight end to have. Ed Rusher from Michigan, Josiah Stewart, he can be a beast. Especially with that how that D line played last year. If he can match that energy from what he did at Michigan along and bring it up to the NFL level to match the NFL level, that defensive line is getting even more dangerous. Running back, Chris Hunter from Alabama. Nice, solid power back. We'd love to see how he will fit in if he gets some playing time and whatnot. Defensive tackle, Ty Hamilton. He pretty good, decent on our defensive line from the national champion Ohio State. But I know most people been talking about the guy from Ole Miss, the linebacker Chris Paul Jr. He's been, he's not related to the NBA player Chris Paul. There's a different Chris Paul we're talking about here. But Paul Jr., I've been hearing a lot of great things out of camp from him. He's probably been one of the stellar rookies that's been showing out during training camp. So looking forward to see what he does if he gets playing time in the regular season. Now, I might watch a couple of preseason games to see some of our rookies and see can they match up well. But for the most part, I won't be paying too much attention to preseason because I know our starters won't be playing. Sean McVay like to get our starters that rest, so they be fresh and ready to go by the time we get to the regular season. But I like what I'm seeing here. I really do. I like what I'm seeing here, and I'm looking forward to what's to come with this team coming off a 10-7 season. NFC West champions came up short. That lost to Philly. And Philadelphia fans, they are thrilled to be Super Bowl champions, but they was nervous as hell when we got to that game. All right. So that's what the Rams have done during the all season. That's what we did last year. So to move forward, let's get into week one. Week one, and here are the first 5 games we'll be looking at. Week 1, home opener against the Houston Texans. Houston, 10-7 last year, runners of the AFC South for a second consecutive year, maybe third. I could be wrong. They have been owning the AFC South lately. They beat the Los Angeles Chargers in a wild card run, and they were defeated by the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round. CJ Stroud completed 63.2% of his passes last year for 3,727 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Joe Mixon, the newly acquired Joe Mixon from the Cincinnati Bengals, had a good year with his first year with the Texans. 245 carries, 1,016 yards rushing, 11 touchdowns. He also had 309 receiving yards with a touchdown. They star wide receiver Nico Collins, 68 catches, just over 1,000 yards receiving with 7 touchdowns. They have key signings. They have re-signed Mario Edwards Jr. That's a good signing for them. They bring in Cam Robinson from Minnesota, offensive guard Lincoln Thomason from the Jets to build up that offensive line so they can protect CJ Stroud because they had problems protecting CJ Stroud. But CJ Stroud was still able to make things happen, still able to throw for over 3,700 yards. They bring in Sheldon Rankins from the Cincinnati Bengals to buffer that defensive line, and they bring in Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Justin Watson. As they did lose Stephon Diggs. I forgot what Stephon Diggs landed at. But I got to go back and look. See what Stephon Diggs landed at. But last time we met the Houston Texans was back in 2021, and there was no CJ Stroud in that game. CJ Stroud was still at Ohio State. He was still at Ohio State, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that works with him being in him meeting the Rams for the first time, him coming to SoFi Stadium. That should be a very interesting matchup. Stephon Diggs signed with the New England Patriots, which we'll be seeing them. No, we won't be seeing them, but signed with the New England Patriots. So that should be something to look forward to if you're a New England fan. So Houston, they've been doing some shuffling around on their roster this offseason. So week 1 might not be a good indication of how Houston may look this year. You know, you just lost a stud wide receiver in Stephon Diggs. You should have Nico Collins back. You should have Tank Dell back. But it's going to be interesting to see how Tank Dell looks coming off that season-ending injury that he suffered. I don't know if they will be ready out the gate. Joe Mixon he's a good running back. He's a good running back, but and then you trying to get that offensive line together against one of the fiercest and young defensive lines in the game, as they showed last year with the Los Angeles Rams. Gerald Verse, Brandon Fitz, you know, that's Kobe Turner, and you know that D line is gonna be nasty, even with an extra year of experience under their belt now. So CJ Stroud could be running for his life out the gate week 1, as that offensive line is trying to gel and find a continuity with themselves. So give me the Rams. I'm taking the Rams to open up SoFi Stadium and open up with a W on that opening weekend of the NFL season. So I see us being 1-0 on this one, and moving on from the home opener to our first away game, where we go to Nashville, Tennessee, to take on the Tennessee Titans. Here we go. Will Levis completed 63% of his passes for just over 2,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 12 games. They also had backup quarterback Mason Rudolph, who started games. When they benched Will Levis, he completed 64% of his passes for 1,530 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and 8 games. He's no longer with the Titans. He has fallen back to Pittsburgh to be in Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback room. There also housed Aaron Rodgers. Tony Pollard, his first year with the Titans after being with the Dallas Cowboys, 260 carries for 1,079 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley, 64 catches. He had a 1,000-yard receiving year with 4 touchdowns. They bring in Xavier Woods from the Carolina Panthers. They bring in offensive guard Kevin Zitzler from Detroit. They bring in Demontre Jones from Seattle, corner safety. Offensive tackle Dan Moore from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and defensive tackle Sebastian Joseph Day from the Los Angeles Chargers. They do have a new coach. Brian Callahan is in his Brian Callahan is going into his second season as head coach. Will Levis is out for the season after having shoulder surgery. So he's out for the season. And most likely we are looking at rookie Cam Ward leading the charge for the Tennessee Titans. I don't know who else they have on their depth chart. Let me look. I do believe this will be Cam Ward's team because it's going to be Will Levis or Cam Ward. And Will Levis had to have shoulder surgery during the offseason, which is going to end his season before he even starts. So that could be detrimental to him in his NFL career. But we do wish Will Levis a full recovery from shoulder surgery. But this should put the team in the hands of Will Levis. Cam Ward, shall I say, the rookie from the University of Miami. I want to see how that goes. Who else they have? They have Brennan Allen, Tim Boyer on their quarterback depth chart as well. Both guys have experience. Brennan Allen from Arkansas is going into his 10th year. Tim Boyer going into his 8th year out of Eastern Kentucky. So they have experience, but I could see them playing one of them and having Cam Ward to sit back and watch and get acclimated with the NFL game, because the NFL game is a different speed than the college game. So I could see them do that. But nevertheless, it don't matter who they play. Before I get to that, the last time we saw them was in 2021 when they came to Los Angeles and they embarrassed us on Sunday Night Football. The reason why I remember that one so very well is because that was just hours away from the calendar hitting November 8th, and it would have been my birthday. So yeah, the last time we saw the Tennessee Titans, they gave me not so happy birthday gift by coming into LA and beating the brakes off the Rams in SoFi Stadium on Sunday Night Football, which was very terrible. I remember that so well because I was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We had rented an Airbnb out there, and we got to watch football. And I was not thrilled. I was pissed off. I was pissed the hell off that I watched that game. And we got destroyed the way that we did on Sunday Night Football. Yeah, I remember that very well. But we did go on to win the Super Bowl that year, so it ended well. But yeah, the Titans came into last season 3-14, finished last in the AFC South. Could be another terrible season for the Titans this year, because then again, we'll see how quick Cam Ward can pick up the NFL game, because that's going to be the guy that they're going to need. Either way, week 2, you got to find out who your starter is. You got to find out what your team going to look like. You get your ass whooped in Nashville. The Rams go 2-0. Plain and simple. Couldn't leave it plain and simple. That's plain and simple. Week 3. Here we go. NFC divisional rematch. The same two teams, the same fan base, the same stadium, but no inclement weather for this one. Rams, Eagles, Lincoln Financial Field, the third week of the NFL season, without snow this go around. All right. As we just shouldn't have to go through this. We already know all this because that's a team we probably circle on account if you're a Los Angeles Rams fan. But Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, 14-3 in the NFC, winning the NFC East Championship. They were the second seed in the NFC. They beat Green Bay in the wild card round. Obviously, we talked about them beating us in the divisional round. They beat the brakes off the Washington Commanders in the NFC Championship game. And they beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, which I had a pleasure to be on Radio Row for. Shout out to the Eagles. Shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs, being able to interview mostly the Chiefs players. Shout out to being on Radio Row. Shout out to my brother Eric Wilson for having a media auditions for me to get to New Orleans and be a part of Radio Row. Great experience. Got to hang out with different people. Got to meet different people. So that was a very interesting thing. And shout out to the Eagles for winning the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, who was the Super Bowl MVP, completed 68.7% of his passes last season. Just 97 yards short hitting 3,000 passing yards. He had 18 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He also ran for 630 yards with 7 rushing touchdowns, mainly because of the tush push, but hey, it is what it is. Saquon Barkley. That dude there. 345 carries last year in his first year with the Eagles. Over 2,000 yards rushing with 13 touchdowns. That man was unstoppable. And he enjoyed playing against us because he broke what, about 350-yard touchdowns against us? Like, that dude is different. Man, that dude's different. A.J. Brown, 67 receiving for 1,079 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns. Devontae Smith, 68 catches for 833 receiving yards with 8 receiving touchdowns. Man, them damn Eagles, boy. What can you say about the Eagles? Key addition signings, they bring in cornerback Deidre Jackson, running back A.J. Dillon from the Green Bay Packers, which is interesting. And they brought back linebacker Zach Braun, who's been very key for them on defense in the middle, controlling the defense, calling the defense. Zach Braun has been very good for them in the middle, not to mention Jalen Carter. I know some of y'all just went, so I know I'm sorry. But hey, Jalen Carter, he's the reason why the Eagles are Super Bowl champions, because guess what? He went for Jalen Carter. The Eagles would have lost the game to us. And we probably been went on to win the Super Bowl. But Jalen Carter did what he needed to do to ensure that his team finished the job. As we mentioned the last time we met, divisional round, 28-22 Eagles in Philadelphia. Stinker on that one. And yet it's going to be a stinger again because I think that's when we take our first loss of the season in Philly. I ride for us to lose to them here and then get them back in the playoffs and then having us beat them in the regular season and them getting us back in the playoffs. So I'll take my first L right here in Philly. I feel it to be another tightly contested game back and forth, and Philly will just will come out at home surviving this one. All right, so 2-1 so far. 2-1. Not bad. We come back home. We play the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts were 8-9 in it last year, finished second in the AFC South, did not make the playoffs. Anthony Richardson, 47.7 completion percentage, 1,814 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He also ran for almost 500 yards with 6 touchdowns in 11 games. They had some issues with him, so they benched him. They brought in Joe Flacco, 65.3% completion percentage, 1,761 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He is no longer there. They brought in Daniel Jones, and Joe Flacco is back with the Cleveland Browns. So that's going to be interesting to see right there out the gate. Jonathan Taylor, over 300 carries on the season, 1,431 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns. He had a pretty productive season last year. Alec Pierce, 37 catches, 824 yards, 7 touchdowns. That is a deep threat. But their workhorse in the receiving corps is Michael Pittman Jr., 69 catches, 808 receiving yards with 3 touchdowns. As I mentioned earlier, they brought in Daniel Jones. Joe Flacco is back in Cleveland. They bring in cornerback Charvarius Ward from the San Francisco 49ers. They bring in safety Cameron Bryan from the Minnesota Vikings. And they bring in Khalil Herbert, running back from the Cincinnati Bengals. The last time we met the Indianapolis Colts was in 2023. The Rams won 29-23 in overtime against the Indianapolis Colts. That is the game where Puka Nacua went off. Okay. They could not stop Puka Nacua whatsoever. And in overtime, Stafford just kept going to Puka Nacua, and Puka Nacua got it in the end zone for the game winner, walk-off overtime victory. See you later in Indianapolis. Broke a lot of hearts. And Pat McAfee and company was at that game too. This makes it even more special. Makes it even more special. All right. But will it be Anthony Richardson? Will it be Daniel Jones? By the time we get to week 4, we will know who will be the starter for the Indianapolis Colts. And it won't even matter because y'all coming to SoFi Stadium, y'all going to take this L. Jonathan Taylor, as good as he is, you ain't Saquon Barkley, sir. So you would not be going off for no goddamn 200 yards rushing against us. I got the Rams on this one. We get back in the World Cup after we take an L to the Philadelphia Eagles. That puts us at 3-1. And then on a short week, Thursday night football, the first primetime game on the Los Angeles Rams schedule. And here come the 49ers of San Francisco. San Fran had a terrible season last year, mostly due to injury. 6-11, fourth in the NFC West. I know a lot of people were happy, not just Rams fans, Seahawks fans, Cardinal fans, but it was mostly due to injury of anything. Brock Purdy competed just about 66% of his passes for 3,864 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Christian McCaffrey, in only 4 games played last year, that was a big difference last year. 50 carries, 202 yards rushing. That's about all he can give you in 4 games. Deebo Samuel, who's no longer there, he's in Washington with the Commanders. 51 catches, 670 yards, 3 touchdowns. George Kittle, 78 receiving yards, over 1,100 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns. Brandon Ayuk had a season-ending injury. I don't know if he'll be back in time for this game or would it be after this game. But he had a season-ending injury. I don't know when he'll be back. I don't know if he'll be back to the start of the season. It's kind of tricky when you have season-ending injury, especially in the half part of the season. So we'll see about that. They did bring in defensive end Leonard Floyd from Buffalo on a 2-year, $24 million deal. They did bring in Devontae Campbell. That was all right. So they do bring in wide receiver Matt Hollins from the Houston Texans. So it's going to be interesting. We swept them last year. Got them 24-27 in Los Angeles. Then we went to Santa Clara on a Thursday night, ironically. And we beat them 12-6 in a field goal affair. No touchdown, just straight field goals. Straight field goals in that game. It was a field goal fest. But nevertheless, we at home. It's a Thursday night, and we're going to beat the 49ers. I don't care how Snowman feels. We're going to beat the 49ers. It is what it is. So, through our first 5 games, 2 W's, we got 4 wins, 7 in with the L with the Eagles. So, win Houston, win Tennessee, lost the Eagles, win Colts, win 49ers. So, that puts us at 4-1 through the first 5 games of the season, the first 5 weeks of the regular season. That puts us at 4-1. All right. Next week, when we come back next week, we'll be talking about the Ravens, the Jags, the Saints, and the 49ers, and with one of them games being an international game. Well, thank you for tuning in on today's episode of Ramily Talk. Thank y'all for watching. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button so you hit that notification bell for all everything we post on the Playmakers blog and searching Rams content. And then if you listen to the audio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and wherever else you find podcasts at. I am the Playmaker signing off for the beginning of season 6 of Ramily Talk. I'll see you next week.